rather than an armed.
Let me throw this in because we're almost out of time and I want Ron to be able to finish.
But the point I'm making here, Alex, it's an important one. What I'm saying is, just because people in America, you may not believe in guns, you may not want people to have guns, and there are many people that believe that, and it's a legitimate view, just as having them is a legitimate view. Please see the shades of grey. Don't get caught in the debate of guns or no guns. Get caught in the understanding or the question, why do they want to take the guns from the population now? What's the agenda for that? Who benefits from that from their point of view? Because they want us to get into this no gun debate because that takes us over here. We need to focus, whether we believe in guns or whether we don't, on why they want to do it now. And it's because they will find that easier from their point of view to, in their mind, to take over an unarmed population rather than an armed one.
David, I want to be able to have Ron counter back and get to some other calls, but let me just myself state this clearly, to use a Star Wars analogy. Obi-Wan Kenobi's not running around with his lightsaber killing innocent people. He uses it in defense. And the issue is it's a major checkmate that if things get so desperate and they're taking people to put them on trucks to FEMA camps, that if the Germans would have had guns and resisted, that wouldn't have happened. The same thing with Lenin or Stalin. And so I'm nonviolent offensively, but nobody's taking my kids to a FEMA camp, period, and they can't stand it, and they know it, and people need more guns. It's the answer against this tyranny, the counterbalance of power against this paramilitary globalist force, massively in an arms race against the people. Ron in New York, your comment on that.
Okay, my larger point was actually going to be about the spinning and manipulations of the media. I've noticed one thing from all the tapes I've seen where they, have these videotapes supposedly of what took place in Arizona, these sales. And what I have noticed is that you do not see a sale come to fruition, meaning the guy makes a statement about, I can't pass a background check, but you don't actually see somebody transacting, giving him a firearm, and he gives them cash. Now, I've seen this been reported for 2 days now, and I find that unusual, and I begin to wonder whether there even was a transaction. We're just being manipulated.
No, Ron, it's a great point. There is so much lying going on. I appreciate your call. Any other comments on that, David?
Well, I worked in the media for a long time, the BBC and newspapers and radio in Britain. And if anyone saw the inside of a mainstream newsroom in whatever form it is, paper, television, radio, they would never believe a word they read or heard in the media again, because you don't have to be intelligent. There are some intelligent journalists. You don't have to be. It's often a bad career move, and you certainly do not have to be informed. Some of the most uninformed people I've ever met have been professional journalists and professional politicians. And there's also this least line of resistance. If you are a proper journalist and you are interested in the truth, then you are going to constantly be in conflict with those running your media organization who don't want you to cross that line. So there comes a point where to advance the career, to keep the job, to keep the check coming in at the end of the month, you stay within those lines. And what does that mean? You say what is within the acceptable realm and ratio of the norms. And if the norm is guns are bad, gun shows bad, then that's how you report it.
Absolutely. And if you play ball, then you ascend in that mainstream media system. But now people are aware of it, so it's falling apart. So the globalists are coming in, trying to restrict the alternative media, and the fight is on. Let's talk to Jack in Illinois. Jack, you're on the air with David Icke.
Hi, gentlemen. I just have one quick, hi, David, one comment and one quick question. I think it's important that people stay positive because like attracts like, and also fearless, because at the end of the day, the light is going to prevail, and everyone needs to have that reassurance. And then my question for you, David, is I'm a fan of yours. I've seen many of your videos. Could you please explain to Alex's listeners your concept of combing the mirror?
Combing the mirror, yeah. First of all, I talk about the things that are happening and some of the things we need to do to stop them happening, but my view of the outcome is very, very positive. I think
well, it's positive to admit the bad, so then you can recognize the bad from the good.
Yeah, this control system is coming down. My question is, how bad is it going to get before that comes? And that's the question we need to answer ourselves. How much are we going to stand on the sidelines and let this go on unchallenged? Because before it comes down, it's going to be more extreme than it needs to be if we resist it or stop cooperating with it now. In terms of combing the mirror, well, in the time we've got, Jack, difficult, but in simple terms, we are projecting all the time our inner state of being, in many ways, Alex, in the same principle as the way we have the internet as a projection of our own collective mind. And therefore, if you look at it this way, the world that we experience is like a movie screen. The inner self is like the projector at the back of the theater. And we can stand and shout and cuss at the screen in the theater for as long as we like. It ain't going to change. It's hit the screen. It's a done deal. We have to go back to the projector and change the reel. And all the time we're being encouraged to look outside of ourselves for answers when the answers are actually within us, because the world is a collective expression of the current state of
well, that's
human
Plato's
consciousness.
cave. That's Plato's cave.
If they don't stop that, if we don't change that, then nothing can change. For instance, inner self, I have no power. Outer expression, a few people run the world. Inner self, I do not have the courage to stand up for what I believe in. Outer expression, a few people run the world. When we change, the world must change, because the power that is being used to control us is the power we give away every minute of every day.
Beautifully said.
Doing that, the power dynamics shifts dramatically, and it's all over.
Absolutely. I'm going to jam in a few quick questions, a few final calls here from Richard and John. Then we're out of time, David. This has been amazing. But just in my 16 years fighting the globalist, incredible success, because I know history and believe in the destiny of liberty. You've had incredible success. There are other people more intelligent who have greater potential than you and I do. They need to realize they have that potential and step up to the plate. Richard in Canada, you're on the air with David Icke. Go ahead.
Greetings, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to speak with you both. You've both had a profound impact on my life. I have a quick question. Alex, you do an amazing job of exposing the globalists in the United States, and David, you do an amazing job exposing them in the UK. I find there's nobody here in Canada doing nearly as good of a job. I was just going to ask if you guys could maybe impart on me a few tips on how to do your amazing research.
Really, it's just studying how the world works and knowing history and then clicking with the info. And just being that leader in your area, picking the issues you're going to stand up for, whether it's having local media or the right to keep and bear arms or sovereignty or exposing your prime minister, calling for world government. David, what's your view?
Well, Richard, there's a blueprint. There's a blueprint that you find in every single country, and Canada is no different. In fact, it's one of the more extreme examples. In my research over the years, watch the country that's next door to the country what the focus is on. One of the great Illuminati centers on the planet is Austria, which is next door to the country that he's focused on, Germany. And so much stuff goes on in Canada, not least in Ontario, that crosses the border into America in various ways. So Canada's a very, very important place in this whole global arena, not least because, with the greatest respect, people are looking at the United States primarily and not to Canada.
Yeah.
And if that's just what you want if you want to put some of your institutions and networks in a place where they're going to be less seen. But in terms of the blueprint, if you can just get your head, I'm sure you get your head around where they want to take the world and the methods they use to take us there. And that, in effect, that knowledge is like when you're doing a jigsaw puzzle, it's like that point where you put all the straight pieces together and you've got the frame. And then from that point on,
it moves
in any
fast.
country, Canada or anywhere, you can start putting the detail in within that frame and see how it plays out in your
David,
country.
we're out of time. Richard, I appreciate your call. I'm sorry. Well, we'll try to jam John in with a quick final comment here, but it's very simple. There's a continuity of agenda. You find out there's global boards that are setting the standardized programs. That's where you're going to find the information. Excellent points, David. Quick question or comment. John in Illinois, go ahead.
It's truly an honor to be speaking with such great minds. Now, David, in this Egyptian uprising and then the more recent example in Tunisia,
right.
Do you feel that this is part of the problem, reaction, solution / order out of chaos?
All right, we got to get his answer, John. You must have missed him earlier. He said yes. David, final comments.
Yes, but shades of grey. The people are overwhelmingly, absolutely, genuinely reacting and uprising to grotesque injustice. But we have to be streetwise to make sure that that reaction, that understandable response, is not harnessed and handled so the outcome becomes what the people responsible for it, when you get behind the scenes, responsible for the injustice, don't come out with their men in power again.
We're out of time. David Icke, incredible job. Retransmission starts now. Infowars.com.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Where have all the military surplus stores gone? Don't worry, you don't need one, because everything you need in military surplus is at mainemilitary.com. That's MAINE military.com, one of the last surviving true military surplus stores in the country.